Hi, my name is Troy Tueller. Sorry I haven't made a video in a long time. Been really busy. But today we're going to be talking about some rules that I feel like are commonly misunderstood. I've talked to Bob Brown about this and a couple of other good referees, and they feel like these are some very misunderstood stuff. This is Jason, by the way. He's going to be helping me out. Thank you, Jason. But yeah, so for the first thing, we're going to be talking about slipping. So a lot of people misunderstand what counts as a intentional slip. Now, if you and this is under WAF rules, pretty traditional tournament rules, if you slip intentionally, it is a foul. But how do you slip intentionally? Well, you can slip intentionally. What counts as an intentional slip? There's three different ways. The first way is if you are, and I'll be slipping, is if you are completely letting go. So there is no finger contact whatsoever. You are completely trying to, and like kind of hold on to me, you are completely trying to just escape by letting go, right? The second way is by balling up. So maybe I'm trying to roll and pronate and I realize that he's going to be taking my hand and I don't want to fuck with his hand. So I'm going to ball my hand up like this and try to slip from that. So my thumb is turning out, right? Once again, it's similar to letting go, right? Your fingers, there's no contact on the back of your opponent's hand, right? But if I'm slipping, right, like if we're both top rolling and my finger is even like this, even two fingers, like it's showing that I am having some kind of contact and we slip, it's fair game, right? So there's two ways: the full let go, the finger flying, the ball up, and this last one. This one is what really trips people up, is the flop. So some people will commit, feel like their hand's getting taken, and they will try to dump and flop. Now, if they're in a flop position and they are pushing and their wrist is going, their hand and their body is going forward towards the pad and they slip, normally that's fine because the refs can interpret that as, oh, he was attempting to come forward and press, but he slips. However, if you are in that position and you spin out like this, so instead of going straight forward, you're spinning underneath their hand in order to slip out. So we go, he takes my hand, I'm like, oh shit, like that would count as an intentional slip, right? So any of those three slips, whether fully letting go or the ball up or the dump, but the spinning dump is what would count as a intentional slip. Now, talking about that, another very common mistake that happens with referees that I see is that the foul in a losing position or slip in a losing position, even more to be more precise, is let's say I take Jason down and he like fair slips, like he dumps like that. It wasn't even intentional. It's important to understand that a slip in a losing position is not a loss. A foul in a losing position is a loss. So an intentional foul, or excuse me, an intentional slip is a foul. So if you intentionally slip, aka a foul, in a losing position, that's a loss. Even if he's here and his elbow comes up, that's a loss. But if we're here and we just slip apart, it's fine. But if we're here and he go full fingers, let go, and we slip like that, that would be a loss because that is a foul. An intentional slip is a foul in a losing position. Any slip, even a fair slip, even in a losing position, is not a loss. All right, that is just a slip, right? Now sometimes it happens fast, and sometimes the ref feels like maybe like you'll get these calls where maybe it wasn't like a full ball up or like something else, and it kind of can get a little bit indecisive, or it can feel like a bad call sometimes. This shit happens, right? It's pretty common. But I wanted to make this video because I see that a lot. I can even show examples right now, like you'll see in the video, where you'll see arm wrestlers who really got gypped, and like they were put in a scenario where they slipped completely fair, or even got called a foul in a losing position when they weren't, right? So yeah, I think slipping, what counts as an intentional slip, and understanding the foul in a losing position rule is important, right? Slip in a losing is not a thing, right? That's not like slipping fairly in anywhere is not a thing. You can't lose that way. Now the other one, and I might just cut this part, but we'll see, is, I'm going to be beating the hell out of a dead horse here, but the king's move, right? So I feel like a lot of people do know this one, but I'm also trying to make videos for newer people, and I want them to understand. So king's move, right? This is a move that only, in my opinion, the way that I define the king's move, which is the right way, is only a handful of people in the world can really do a true king's move. Now, legally, correct, yes, because some people, think that like anybody can do a king's move, but realistically within the rules, not exactly. But anyway, so the king's move foul, as some people call it, has been in the game for a while, and it goes simply like this. If your shoulder drops at a declining angle, so basically think of it like this. If your shoulder starts dropping like this to where your humerus is going downward, and come in close if you will, you can see how my shoulder's dropping low, right? Not like below the pad, not below the table, just once it starts going in a decline position, anywhere from the neutral to losing position is a foul, an immediate foul. With the current WAF rules, it's an immediate foul. Now, neutral and losing, let's talk about what that means. So, right here, dead center, where the ref should set you at the beginning of the match, this is neutral, right? Center table, center of the pegs, neutral position. It's not about the hands, right? Because here's the thing. I could maybe take his hand, but we're still in neutral. So if I drop like this, that's going to be a foul, right? It's talking about the arms. So if I bring him even here, just a little bit to my winning side, technically, you're allowed to do this, right?
Which is going to be the side of the pad.
Exactly. Yes. Pretty much anywhere where you bring them more to your winning side, that's considered winning position, right? But if you're neutral or anywhere in losing, even just a little bit this way, anywhere in like when you start losing, if you start to decline, that is the foul, right? That's how it is with WAF, and I believe that's how it is with East vs. West as well. They may be a little bit more lenient on it sometimes, but WAF, they see it, boom, stop the match, that's a foul, right? But I want to make that clear because some people, at one point people made a rule different where it's like, oh, if your shoulder, competing shoulder, goes below the pad, that's when the foul happens. Or it's not even before it wasn't even a foul, it was just a warning. And then people were kind of doing this thing where like they were like, go down here, oh, stand up, come up for a second, come back down. They were kind of abusing that warning and that rule, right? So yeah, the king's move foul, I just want to make that clear. And, it shouldn't even be called the king's move foul. Really is just often misunderstood, I feel. And, like, it's important to understand that it's when it's in a declining position, when the shoulder starts going there. If you're neutral, once again, like, let's say I'm even losing and I'm dropping pretty low, but my shoulder is neutral, like pretty parallel with, like, the pad, that's fine, right? This is fine. Yes, it looks ugly, but it is not a foul. So yeah, I feel like those are probably the big three most misunderstood rules. I feel like that's a lot of things. But one other thing that isn't necessarily a rule, but that I wanted to talk about, but I think is important, is the referee's grip. So the referee's grip, it's important to understand that the whole concept of a referee's grip is that it is no longer your grip, right? Some guys, they fight for a grip, they're being real stubborn, and then the referee has to stop them. Usually they have 30 seconds to take a grip. 30 seconds pass, they have to go into a referee's grip, where the ref is now in charge. Now, a competent ref should make sure that you guys are center table, webbing level, everything, straight wrists, like as neutral as possible. A competent ref should do this. But what happens is a guy might do a thing where like maybe it's somebody's arms, like just to simulate this, like maybe his arm is really tall. And so the ref ends up having to drop his knuckles because his arm is too tall. And then he's like, okay, ready, go. And then this guy might lose and he'll be like, well, he dropped my knuckles. It's like, well, yeah, it's not your grip. Basically what I'm saying is that it's important to understand that once you're in a referee's grip, you don't really have much of any more choices. The only question they'll ask you is, will you have your thumb capped or not capped? That is the only choice you get. And then there is also the thing where if they're applying the strap, they might ask you, if you want it lower on your wrist or a bit higher. But that goes with or without a referee's grip, right? So the point is that, you know, you might be used to taking a grip, the grip that you want, even in like a referee's grip at practice, but a competent ref at a good ref at a tournament is going to set you what he thinks is fair. If you disagree with something, tough shit for the most part. If you feel like, you know, maybe he did something that was wrong, like it was a bad call, maybe you could talk to him afterwards, but you have to understand that it's no longer your choice. And any movement in a referee's grip, like if his knuckles are dumped and he's like, well, I don't want this, and just before the go he starts rising, you just moved the referee's grip. That is a foul, period.
Even, I think it's important to note, even little things like once he closes your hand with his hand, you cannot move. You can't, like a lot of guys will sit here and do this to try and get their grip.
Yes.
Nothing. Like that's a foul. Just doing something like that is a foul.
Mm-hmm. Even, and some refs let this slide, but even it's a thing where usually in a referee's grip, how it goes is they'll close somebody's hands first, right? So they'll be like, I'll close Jason's hand first, and then this guy is also closing his hand. Technically, that should be a foul because you can't, like, you're not supposed to close your hand yet because the ref is supposed to set your fingers for you. Some refs let this slide because it's just like, stop moving, stop moving. But if you move in a referee's grip, that is a foul. So you have to understand that when the referee says stop referee's grip, you have lost your agency. You have lost your choice, right? So yeah, those are just some things I kind of wanted to make clear. Just a simple video. I know for a lot of people that might be watching this, it might be like a no shit thing. This is mostly for newer people, but yeah, hopefully that is pretty clear. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to answer in the video, but in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching.